One of the Red Sox more interesting trades at this year's deadline is finally back with this team. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and once again, the Red Sox just finished up an absolutely miserable series. So once again, I gave you guys the option of what you wanted to talk about in today's video, and you clearly said, Corbin, blow past that dog turd, and let's talk about some Red Sox news. So in light of that, the Red Sox deadline acquisitions simply did not work out for the Red Sox, considering every single one of the pitchers that they acquired has ended up on the IL. Well, that wasn't until yesterday when one of the Red Sox more interesting trade pieces this season found his way back to the Boston Red Sox. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to go over the latest Red Sox news, roster moves, and what they could mean for not only the rest of the 2024 season, but for the offseason as well. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So for those of you who may not exactly know what I'm talking about just yet, after 21 days on the IL, the Red Sox last night officially activated Lucas Sims from the 15-day IL. For those of you who may not really remember exactly how it happened at the exact same time as the other Red Sox bullpen acquisition, Luis Garcia, because back on August 27th, they were simultaneously placed on the IL. So it's been a little bit since we've seen Lucas Sims. He went down on the IL with a lat strain. So I got to tell you, it's a little bit impressive that we're seeing him again in the 2024 season. I was pretty convinced that was the last we were going to have seen of Lucas Sims for the rest of the year. Lat strains can be really difficult to come back from, and there really wasn't a whole lot of time left in the season, so kudos to him for making his way back. Now, in terms of impact on the Red Sox, well, his tenure with this team so far hasn't exactly looked fantastic. In fact, it's looked kind of miserable, right? In 10 innings with the Red Sox, he had a sky-high 8.10 ERA with a much lower but still really rough FIP of 6.47, and a big reason for the lack of success from Lucas Sims is because during that time, he walked the same amount of people as he struck out. He had exactly 7 walks in those 10 innings and exactly 7 strikeouts, which honestly is just kind of impressive. It's definitely not the most excited I have been for a Red Sox player to make their way back from the IL over this season, or really the last couple of seasons as well. But I do think it is kind of interesting. One, because at the bare minimum, at least you're getting something of value out of Lucas Sims, right? Maybe he can finish off this season strong and make it even a tiny bit worth what you gave up to get him, which was a pretty exciting player in the DSL as a pitcher. Certainly something that doesn't look like a good trade now. Maybe it looks a tiny bit better by the end of the season if he could figure his stuff out. 2, because this is going to be an interesting time for Lucas Sims. He's going into free agency. He's playing for a contract. This is going to be big for him to sit there and say, yes, I can, 1, be healthy and finish out a season healthy, and 2, finish out a season strong, that I'm still capable of making legitimate impacts in a bullpen for a contract for 2025. And in light of that, the third reason why I do think this is kind of an interesting activation for the Red Sox is because I do think there is some sort of possibility here that the Red Sox consider bringing him back for 2025. And before we get the comments of, oh, this guy's a bum, if the Red Sox sign this guy, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel, it's more of the same, which I know are going to be the comments the second I made that statement, so hold off on that for just a second. He could end up being an interesting addition to the Red Sox bullpen in 25. There is still some hope for him as a legitimate reliever. He was pretty solid in the first half of this season. The big thing with Lucas Sims and the issues he had this season had a lot to do with his inability to command a strike zone, right? He was just sort of all over the place. If the Red Sox can manage to fix that in these last 9 games or whatever is left in the 2024 season and feel confident enough that they can continue to do that going into 2025, he may have a spot in this bullpen, and let me explain where. It's basically as your white flag or victory cigar player. The bullpen needs a guy like that. You need somebody who can come in really low leverage situations and finish out a game for you so you don't have to use a position player. Chase Anderson filled that role for the Red Sox for the first half of the season when they were actually scoring runs. Brad Keller was in that role for a little bit as well, and it's a necessary evil for good bullpens. You don't want to use your good players in situations that you don't really need a good pitcher in. You need someone to fill that role, and Lucas Sims could be an inexpensive option to do that. I'm not saying it's a guarantee or anything. I'm not saying there's news or rumors relating to the Red Sox being interested in Lucas Sims coming back in 2025, but as a 31-year-old who has had some success out of a bullpen, it could be someone the Red Sox pay attention to because he's just right there. They have all the ability to track metrics and all that good stuff, and that gives him a bit of a leg up on their scouting with Lucas Sims. So at the bare minimum, right, I'm just trying to find reasons to pay attention to these news and rumors right now, and honestly, this could be one of them. Having this guy try out for a major league spot on a major league roster anywhere in these last 9 games could be interesting. Maybe it's with the Red Sox, maybe it's not. Definitely something to pay attention to, and just simply getting some value back from Lucas Sims in a time where you really weren't going to get any value anyways is always a positive thing. As for the other player on the IL that was acquired at this year's deadline, Luis Garcia is also making his way back as well. Alex Cora mentioned yesterday when he was talking about Lucas Sims that Luis Garcia should be rejoining this Red Sox team this weekend at some point, him being activated as well off of the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. Now, I don't know what that move is going to look like, and honestly, I don't know when that move is going to happen. It sounds like it's either going to be today or tomorrow during the Twins series. One person to keep an eye on is Kenley Jansen, as he has been dealing with some shoulder issues lately. There's a possibility that he ends up on the 15-day IL to finish out this season, although I will say it sounds like Kenley's trying to avoid that at all costs, so I wonder if they just sort of let him ride out into the sunset in a Red Sox uniform. Either way, we should be getting Luis Garcia back at some point. Now, Luis, I don't really think the Red Sox are interested at all in bringing back or have any inclination of being interested, right? He's going to be 38 next season. He was somehow even worse than Lucas Sims on the mound for his first couple appearances in a Red Sox uniform. Just doesn't make a ton of sense to even remotely consider bringing back Luis Garcia. So more so with Luis than it is for Lucas, this is simply about just trying to get something of value from your trade that you made at this deadline, because he gave up a pretty decent amount of players to get Luis Garcia in a Red Sox uniform, and it just didn't work out. Salvaging any of that deal is a positive for this Red Sox team. But there's one more move that we need to talk about, and it has a lot to do with the future of the Red Sox as well. So before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second to doing so. Let's get into that second half. The other move I'm talking about is that obviously someone had to go to make room for Lucas Sims on this 26-man roster, and the Red Sox decided that they were going to option Bailey Horn. The reason I say this is interesting for the 2025 season for the Sox is because as much as I think Bailey Horn is a really nice guy, and I'm always going to root for him whenever he's in a Red Sox uniform, I don't really want him in the bullpen for 2025, right? I would assume that at maximum, you would want this guy to be a break glass in case of emergency type reliever. And I think it points to one of the bigger things the Red Sox need to focus on for the 2025 offseason, and that is really securing the left-hand side of this bullpen. Because when Brennan Bernardino was really good at the beginning of the year, when he was sort of your lockdown ace left-handed reliever, the Red Sox bullpen was in a really great spot. They were able to get out of some really tricky situations and allow a very limited amount of runs, and Brennan Bernardino was a big part of that. Having him in there who could come in and take out lefties was huge for the Red Sox. When he stopped being effective, and then eventually when he went down, it really changed the entire outlook of this bullpen to the point where it sort of faltered a little bit, right? There were no positives when Brennan Bernardino started to fall apart, and since then, the Red Sox really haven't found too much consistency. Cam Boozer has been fine, but he hasn't been that left-handed bullpen ace that they so desperately need. Bailey Horn simply couldn't get the job done. I will say, Zach Penrod in his first couple appearances looks pretty solid, and maybe he's the guy that the Red Sox lean on next year to be that left-handed ace, because in 4 outings in 3 innings, he's allowed just 1 hit, no earned runs. He has a single walk and 3 strikeouts, but I also think at the same time, too, they're going to need a bit of a bigger sample size, hopefully, before they give him the mantle of this this is going to be the left-hander we go to in really tight situations. I would assume the Red Sox want to see more out of him before they jump to that conclusion. Bailey Horn being optioned to me is just sort of an indication that there's still so much work to do in this Red Sox bullpen to really shore it up, and that this offseason, getting a guy who can consistently be that left-handed bullpen ace totally changes the outlook of a bullpen and totally changes how a bullpen operates during a regular season, and in a really good way. It's got to be a focus for the Red Sox, and I think it's going to be a focus for the Red Sox, and I think Bailey Horn going down after an unsuccessful stint with this 2024 team is just another indication of something else the Red Sox need, and that's why, to me, this is a pretty important move because of what it highlights for the 2025 Boston Red Sox. But overall, taking a look at what this means for this team in general, again, it really doesn't mean a whole lot at the end of the day. It's not going to completely transform this bullpen. It's not going to be the route to success for this Red Sox team, right? Lucas Sims coming back isn't going to make or break their playoff hopes. It's just going to be something interesting to watch at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get any value at all out of either of these guys. It's going to be interesting to see if they can build up any of their value coming into 2025. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Red Sox are planning on doing with Lucas Sims during the 2025 offseason. Is this someone that they are interested in coming into the 2025 season as nothing more than a sort of white flag victory cigar type player? At the bare minimum here, at least it's something new to pay attention to over these 9 games as the Red Sox limp through the 2024 season. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about it? What do you think about Lucas Sims coming back? What do you think about Luis Garcia coming back soon? What do you think about Bailey Horn and what that means for the Red Sox bullpen? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox news in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Simply helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. We are available everywhere over there. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.